The Lofi-12 XT is a really fun piece of kit. I love how portable it is, and I love that the workflow is really simple to figure out, and just generally using it is pretty straightforward. But one thing in particular that I really like about it is the crusher. Now, there's a few effects built into this, but the crusher in particular, I really like the sound of it. So on the SP404 Mark II, I actually don't think the crusher MFX is that good compared to previous models, compared to some of the sounds you can say get out of the 303 with the different sample grades. The lo-fi button on the 404 SX, I even really used to like that, mixed with a little bit of isolator. That sounded really nice. Crusher on this just doesn't work all that well. I don't think it has a very nice sound to it. We've had this discussion on the SPVids Discord channel. If you want to join that, there's a link in the description. And we kind of agreed that the lo-fi setting is actually better on the 404 Mark II for getting that kind of sound that you want. So we have to go a bit of a different route with the Mark II to get that sound that we want. But with the Lofi-12 XT, I feel like it's really easy to achieve that sound that I'm looking for with Crusher. And that is the kind of sound of the older samplers that were using a really reduced bit rate in order to be able to have more information on them. With the Lofi-12 XT, you kind of get that sound out of the box, and that's what I'm always chasing when I'm using a Crusher effect. I want that kind of nice ring on the sample, and yeah, I want it to sound like the kind of SP1200, and maybe like the old Akai rack samplers. They used to have a really nice ring as well. I think it's called something like the S950 or something like that. I'll put that up on the screen because I can't remember off the top of my head. So in today's video, what I thought I'd do is basically just show you this effects in action. I've got a couple of projects in here which I can put on the samples and show you guys what it sounds like. I think it's just a nice thing to showcase about this device, and it's one of my favorite things. So I'm actually going to hook this up with the SP404 Mark II because that is basically my interface for recording audio for videos like this. So we'll use this and the 404 Mark II, and I'll show you exactly what this crusher sounds like. So here we are set up with the Lofi-12 XT and the SP404 Mark II. I'm just running the two cables out the back and into the SP404. Sorry about the flickering on the screen, but I'm running two compressors in my bus 3 and 4, so that's going to beef up the sound a little bit. Just going to go ahead and press record on my top-down camera. So that should be running now. We can switch to that one. And yeah, I've got this little project on the Lofi-12 XT. I'm going to mute all the drums to start off with. So we can do that using the mute button. And then we just hit the tracks that we want to mute like that. So those three are my drums. So let's go ahead and go into effects and turn those off temporarily. Now we can hear what this sample sounds like. Okay, so that's a pretty clean sound. We'll try Crusher on the SP404 Mark II. So let's put that on. So it's a bit noisy, it's a bit kind of tinny, it doesn't really have that nice flavour to it that I'd like. So we'll go ahead now and go onto the Lofi-12 XT and we'll press the effect on. Now we've got some parameters that we can play around with here. We've got rate, bit rate, cutoff and balance. I'll change those parameters while I'm playing the sample and you can hear the kind of effect that that has. But I just think this sounds way better. So yeah, it just sounds smoother, it just sounds nicer, more usable. I really like it. So in comparison to the 404 Mark II, I think it's way better. And if we unmute the drums on this as well, press play on that. This is with the drums and the sample with the crusher on, using the Lofi-12. So what did you guys think to the crusher sound on the Lofi-12 XT? I think it's really, really nice. I think it's definitely more reminiscent of those older samplers like I mentioned earlier, the SP1200, the Akai rack-mounted stuff, and the SP303 and things like that. I think they all have a much better crusher sound than we have here on the SP404 Mark II. Definitely share your thoughts in the comments below. Have you used crusher on this and what do you think of it? I just don't think it's quite there in terms of what we're looking for as beat makers, trying to create that kind of nostalgic sound from older samplers. Some exciting news, I've got a new sampler which has been sent to me, which I'm really, really looking forward to sharing with you guys because it's a little bit different to everything I've kind of used before, so that's a bit of a clue. If you want to guess what that is, again, get in the comments and you can try and work that out. I'm a little bit nervous about learning it, but I've got a contact there that can help me if I need to. I'm sure it'll be fine. You know, I've learned loads of different samplers over the years, and although the workflow of this one is a little bit different, I'm sure I'm going to be able to figure it out. So really looking forward to showcasing that with you. And then I have another piece of gear which I've actually been sitting on for quite a while, just haven't had a chance to learn that yet, so that's going to be coming very soon as well. So yeah, even more gear to my already ridiculous collection now, and that is another topic for another video which I really want to talk about. It's the kind of ownership of gear and the amount of gear that I now own and how ridiculous it is all kind of getting. Now I know a lot of you will probably be thinking, well, I'd love to have all those different bits of gear, but there are upsides and downsides to it, so I want to share that with you. Obviously I'm very lucky in the sense that I get quite a bit of gear sent to me these days. I think I've had 4 or 5 different units sent to me from various manufacturers now, so I'm in a very fortunate position. I mean, I have worked hard on this channel, I guess, but yeah, I want to talk about that in a bit more detail and some of my thoughts about that in an up and coming video. I'd also really like to hear if you've got any ideas for things that you would like to see me do in these particular videos. I really want to do a video talking about vinyl. That is one which I will have coming up as well, and hopefully we can sample some vinyl and make a beat maybe or something like that. I haven't sampled from vinyl for a very long time, so I'm definitely keen to get back on the wax and see what we can find in there. And I still haven't got around to mentioning in a video yet that there's currently 20% off on all my digital products in my shop, so check the link in the description. It should be the top link. That goes through to spvids.com. There's all kinds of different things on there and they're all 20% off at the moment. Huge thanks to all of you that have already been to the shop and picked those up this month. That is really, really appreciated. It's the main way which I'm funded making these videos and generally living my life. So anything that you can pick up in the shop, it really does make a massive difference. And I think my prices are already really reasonable, so to get a further 20% off is just crazy. All the discounts are applied at the checkout, so you just have to add your items and they will be discounted for you. If you buy the collection, that's Lo-Fi drums 1 through to 5, that's already had the reduction put on the price. So that won't discount in the checkout because it's already been reduced, just to make that clear. So yeah, 20% off everything. I think I'm going to run that for the whole month. So it's the big SPVids summer sale. I'd really appreciate it if you guys could go and check that out. And another thing that I haven't done for a very long time is played around with some of my older bits of gear. And when I say older, I mean in terms of their actual age, not how long I've had them. So the SP202, I haven't played with this thing for a very long time. So I'd love to get this on the channel again, and one of the greatest things about this is the sample grades. It's an incredible piece of gear, mainly only really for processing samples. It doesn't have a sequencer. You could play beats back by playing the pads, but yeah, really this is kind of like an effects pedal. You sample things in with the different sample rates. There's a couple of built-in effects which are really nice. Great piece of kit. I'll definitely get back on this at some point in the near future as well and do some content around this.